Hi guys, this is Alexandra from Mason Lifestyle. Welcome back to the channel. So today I thought, wow, it's been a while since I have not done a pattern haul. And guys, I have not done a pattern haul in quite some time because a lot of the patterns that have been released recently, I just don't really like them. I don't know if you guys follow or watch Lindsay from Inside the Hem. She does these awesome videos and they're usually on Fridays, and she goes through the new releases, and she does this for the big four and other indie pattern companies, and I really appreciate those videos. I love them because she really goes in depth on the pattern, right? She shows you, okay, it's a milkmaid dress, and let's look at, does it have a zipper? Does it have a side seam? Does it have this? She goes through sizing. So I really like how she just goes through each pattern and dissects it, right? For a lack of a better term, she really goes through it and tells you this is what's happening on that pattern. And I have to say, this last release from Simplicity, no. I mean, how many more sweatshirts and sweatpants patterns can we get? We got that from Vogue, we got that from Butterick, we got that from Simplicity, and not once, but it seems like it's coming out just like every time that they have a new release for fall, for summer. And it's, gets what? The year before you had same sweatpants. I mean, I think I have purchased 2 or 3 patterns for sweatpants that maybe has been included with something else. So I have really scaled down on pattern buying and have really asked myself, okay, this dress with the cutout on the side, are you really gonna wear that? No. Can you modify the pattern? Yes, I can modify the pattern. Okay, I will keep it. This jacket, like S9388, this jacket pattern, you know, shirt, jackets, just a big oversized shirt pattern, and it's long, and I know it's hot, everybody loves it. I bought one. Guys, I asked myself, are you really going to make one of these, or do you just want the pattern to have it in your stash? And I had to really tell myself, no, you're not gonna make that. Where are you gonna wear it? To just hang around the house? To go outside? Guys, I am in the Midwest, okay? It gets cold. The cold here, it's no joke. You get to wear those cute little jackets for maybe a month in like October, and then November hits and get your big puffy jacket out. The one with, like, you know, the technical gear, with the fussy fur on the face, with the lined like fleece, puffy, the whole works, okay? You look like the Michelin man walking out, because that is what you have to wear, because it's cold. And I lost a couple of pounds, and when it's cold, you realize that you lost those pounds, and they were good during the winter, not so good for the summer, but the winter, those extra pounds come in handy. So let me tell you what I got, because I did get some patterns. And then let me show you also a little bit of the dilemma that I'm having with the big 4 pattern companies. And I think this is something that a lot of people are dealing with. And I know there have been some changes over there. And obviously we're not gonna see these changes from night and day. And it takes a couple of pattern releases to update it. But perhaps if they see one more person, right, bringing this up, they will change their ways. So let's start. And I'm going to start with what's going on and why am I saying this? So let's start. So I had purchased this fabric from Joann's. It is 100% cotton. It is flannel. It is beautiful. So I wanted to make myself just a classic button down shirt, right? I looked through all my patterns and I'm like, I just don't have the right pattern for this, right? Don't have the right pattern. So I went and bought Vogue 6841. 6841. I look at the body measurements, right? And it puts me in an XL. Okay, fine, right? I open up the pattern. Guys, of course, the finished garment measurements are on the pattern, right? Are on the pattern. And yes, it is a pattern for ladies and gentlemen. Awesome. It's longer. Awesome. Button down shirt. Hey, right? Okay, we have a winner. I also bought this pattern. Yes, I didn't have it. This is, I don't know if you guys can see it. It's Vogue 8772, right? Okay, I don't have that pattern, but I'll buy it, right? Between one of these two, I will find the pattern to make the shirt, right? So I bought both of those patterns. I start working on this pattern with my beautiful shirt, right? Beautiful shirt, match it, all that good stuff, right? It took about 3 yards of fabric because I had to do some serious pattern matching, color, the whole bit. So I start working on this pattern. Again, this pattern, Butterick 6841. Open up the tissue. Guys, so this pattern, the size I bought, it goes from XL to XXL to triple large, okay? Okay. I open up the pattern, I open up the tissue, it's too big. It's not a little big, it's really big. It's almost like a shacket size, okay? So I'm like, okay, no problem. I am just going to have to just take it in, right? Cut the hem, just cut the sleeves. But I'm just like, how come this pattern does not have the finished garment measurements in the back, right? No finished garment measurements in the back. And then you look at the body measurements, and which sometimes, I realize that this has ease in it, right? And the finished garment measurements has, okay, ease, but then you can get closer to where you need to be. But body measurements puts me at XL, hence why I bought that, right? But guess what? No finished garment measurements. You have to open up the whole pattern. You have to kind of look at it, right? You have to look at the sleeves. Guys, I always have to make bicep adjustments, not with this pattern, okay? Because it is enormous. And I had told you guys last week, did a little bit about my sewing fails, that, right, the sleeves are longer than an airport runway. This was it. This pattern, the sleeves are from here to like down my 8-foot long table. They are very long sleeves. No problem. I will adjust all of that. But you know what? It would have been nice to know the finished garment measurements on the back of that pattern, so I could have saved myself, saved $2, because guess what? I went and bought the smaller size. I cut it up and then I fitted the shirt to me. So again, I wasted time, I wasted money. Obviously, I could have saved some fabric too, just because I wouldn't have had to adjust the whole pattern. So, and when you look at this, when you look at these two patterns, neither of these patterns have finished garment measurements in the back. So that is my rant. And I don't know when did the big four, it's kind of like a toss-up. Sometimes they do it, other times they don't. But for someone like me, I really like to know, especially when some of these patterns have so much ease. I don't want 6, 8 inches of ease on a button-down shirt that's gonna be swimming on me. I'm already a large chick as it is, right? I don't wanna be wearing this tent over me. I want it to fit me a little bit better. So hello, big four, start adding those finished garment measurements. So I also bought this pattern for that too. Guess what, guys? This does not have finished garment measurements either. I will make this pattern at some other time and I already have fabric for it and I'm very excited, and thankfully it's from 16 to 24 and I am sure I will fit in one of those. So bought that pattern, but I have been a little bit hesitant to buy some of these patterns because one, the designs are huge. No, I'm not going to be wearing that. And let's just be real, I'm not me, someone else might, but I think sometimes I need to kind of get a better sense of the demographics that are purchasing their patterns, right? We've been here for a while. We know what we like, we know what we don't like. Or, okay, are you buying a pattern for the neckline or that detail that you just want to hack and use somewhere else? So, second case in point, I got myself this beautiful fabric from Minerva. It's a cable knit sweater fabric. I got myself 2 yards. I'm like, I am ready for it. Okay, I went to look at my patterns. What do I have on the stash, right? And what I really wanted to make myself was a V-neck sweater. Again, I'm busty. I like to at least give me some sort of, right, elongate the lines, and you do that with V-necks. So I looked at this pattern, right? This is Simplicity 8738. Great pattern. You can make this pattern with 2 yards of fabric. You can make a tunic. You can make a collar, but it's just not what I want, right? Not what I want. Put that off to the side. And I've done a sew along for this. S8982. I love that top. I made myself a top with that. No, not what I want. I want something that's a little bit more classic, right? I don't want those cuff sleeves. No, put that off to the side. I looked at this other pattern in my stash. Simplicity 9385. Looks really close to that pattern I just had. Still, this is not what I want because BUB has these gathers on the sleeves. It's just not what I want. I just want something classic. So, lo and behold, I bought this pattern. I don't know if you guys can see it with the light, but it is from Sew House 7, and Simplicity prints their patterns, and they came out with a new pattern called the toaster sweater. It's really similar to this, but it has raglan sleeves, and I didn't care for it. And you guys know I don't like the printing, the taping. It's just not me. And sometimes when the sojo hits, you gotta jump on it. You gotta jump on it because guess what? Next week, sojo might be gone and you don't wanna do everything. So I bought this pattern and I made my sweater. It's beautiful. This is a great pattern. And I don't even know if they have this available anymore, but I bought this at Joann's. Again, it's H0238 and it is by Sew House 7. I don't know if you guys can see it with the light. Sew House 7. It's a great pattern. It's just straight to the point. It's not difficult to make. And guess what it has in the back? It has finished garment measurements. So this was a slam dunk. Great pattern to have. But again, it shouldn't have to be this hard. So I'm going to show you some of the patterns that I bought, and I've been just trying to streamline quite a bit what I have been purchasing and really asking myself, are you going to truly make that, or are you just buying things for your pattern stash? So I had this pattern on my wish list and somethingdelightful.com for quite some time. And I don't know if you guys do wish lists. I do. I put them in there just because if I see a pattern that I like, I kind of put it on a wish list and I have them divided by Butterick, McCall, Vogue. So I have them all in there. And if I see something that I like, or if I see something that is on sale on the website, I buy it. So I had this pattern from Donna Karan, and it is a Vogue 1341, right? I love those lines, and you guys know that I love knits. I love knits, and I love knits because, well, they're easy to fit. So I bought this pattern. I love it. I love the red. And it's definitely, I can see myself wearing this to go to work, go to, go out to a restaurant. And I can see myself wearing this in the fall or the winter. So great pattern. I also got myself, I had this pattern in my wish list also for quite some time. And, I went to go buy it at the store and they had sold out. And I believe I don't know if it's out of print or whatnot, but it is Vogue 1600. And again, this pattern is actually, it's rated advanced. And I believe it's rated advanced because you have knit. And then you have some chiffon here on the cutouts. And then you have also some leather trim all over the place. Let me see if I can show you the kind of like the technical drawings. So again, a difficult pattern, but I wanted it. And I wanted it because, again, I can see myself wearing and making this pattern. So I bought it. Again, a Vogue 1600. I also got this pattern. This is Vogue 1724. And again, this is a knit pattern, but I love the sleeves on this pattern, right? Love the sleeves, love the length. Again, I feel like this is a great pattern that I can do for fall. Again, it is, it's rated average. I can see why. You got a lot of, and put the technical drawings in there. You have a lot of seams that gotta match, right? It's pretty amazing that they have that model with the plaid. Boy, that's kind of crazy with all the plaid, but yeah, I think if it's a pattern that you want to spend some quality time and make, you can make it. I love the sleeves on this. I love the 3/4 length sleeves. I wear see, I roll up my sleeves quite a bit just because I like to just get on the computer or cook or just do things around the house and just be comfortable. So I wear a lot of 3/4 length sleeves, or I kind of just push my sleeves up. So great pattern. And this pattern, you can use crepe or pot knit, which probably will be what I would wear. And I have to see, does this pattern have a lining? I don't see a lining on this. So again, definitely a pattern that I will make. And I wonder, do you guys want me to perhaps do a sew along for any of these Vogue patterns? Yes, Vogue tends to be a little bit more, I wouldn't say complicated. There's just more steps. And sometimes it may be more steps as to, okay, well, the dress is lined instead of just bias tape in the inside or serge the seams. Would you want me to do perhaps a Vogue dress where you're lining the dress and all that good stuff and playing with zippers? Let me know in the comments below. I also bought this pattern, and I will come clean. This pattern was bought at like 1 o'clock in the morning. I must have been dozed off and press buy now, boom. So, but I love this pattern because the front is detachable. And again, V-necks, here we go. So this is a Vogue pattern. It is a Vogue 1548. And guys, I don't know if this pattern is still, I don't know if this pattern is out of print or not. I found it on their website. I put it on my wish list, and maybe I'll find it someday, and boom, there it was. And I'm like, I think they were having a sale because that's the only way I buy some of these patterns on their website. It was on sale and I bought it at 1 o'clock in the morning. And then, 2 weeks later or that same morning, I'm like, yes, your purchase. It's like, order confirmation. I'm like, what? I bought something? So can't wait to make it. It's probably going to be it looks like a great pattern for fall, but depending on the fabric, it could be something that I can wear for spring, right? To go to work and probably detach that front piece because I told you guys I love V-necks, right? And I also bought this pattern from New Look. And again, I don't even know if this pattern is out of print anymore, but I saw it, I loved it. And can we talk about what is going on when you look, right? Another thing, the last collection that they released, I think the highest size that they went to was 18, and it was like on a handful of patterns. The rest, it was like up to 16. So again, I remember I did voice my disappointment, put it that way, disappointment that their patterns were not at least going to size 20, right? It's just like, yes, I can grade the pattern, but I'm over grading patterns, right? I'm paying for a pattern and now I have to grade it too, right? So anyways, so I bought this pattern. This is New Look 6530. Right? 6530. And again, I don't know if you guys can see it right there. So 6530, it is, I love this because I'm thinking this is a great transitional piece that I can wear in winter with a pair of boots. And then when it start getting, early spring, that I can wear this with a light jacket and probably some like booties or just something more appropriate at the time. So again, and guys, it has finished garment measurements. So I love this pattern. And then I have been, and I don't know if you guys, do you guys ever purchase vintage patterns, right? I have a list of 3 vintage patterns that I wanted. I've found 2 and I'm still on the hunt for one more. So I'll show you the 2 that I have purchased. And it took like about a year and a half to find these. I put them on my Etsy, kind of like, wish list, would love to have. And if I see it in the right size, and if I see it at a reasonable price, then I will pull the trigger. But if it's like $80, you're crazy. I'm not spending that kind of money. So, and I told you guys about this pattern, and I don't know if I did or didn't, but this is a vintage Butterick pattern. It is Butterick 9427, right? It's a vintage pattern. I bought it off of Etsy. The skirt is cut on the bias. It has sleeves. It has this beautiful tie on the side. All the pieces are in there. The instructions are in there. All of these vintage patterns, people cut them. It only comes in one size. It's size 16. So yes, I'm going to grade it. And I'm okay doing that for these patterns because they're vintage. And those ladies way back when, man, I don't know what they ate, but clearly they were in the right size, right? So I'm okay grading these patterns and, the instructions. I feel like you learn so much from so many of these vintage pattern techniques that I feel like they elevate your sewing from finishing to how to cut fabric to buttons to anything. So if you ever have a chance to perhaps invest in one of these vintage patterns that you do. And I also bought this other pattern, and it is a Vogue pattern. I had been looking for this for quite some time, and I found it. It's a little tattered, but I found it, and I found it at a pretty reasonable price, right? And that's like around 20 bucks for a vintage pattern from Vogue. More than that is, and I still think 20 bucks for a vintage pattern from Vogue is still a lot, right? So this is Vogue 1023, and it is a vintage Dior jacket. It's beautiful. It's made in mohair. And I found it just about when things were starting to get pretty cold. And I have already made a line jacket for a line coat for this season. So I'm not gonna make any more coats. Just I think it's just a little too much. But I love that pattern. I was looking at it forever. And sure enough, all the pieces are there. And sure enough, all the instructions are in there. And guys, the instructions on that pattern are absolutely amazing, from the top stitching and whatnot. So that is what I have purchased in the month of October. I know we're in November, but in the month of October as far as patterns go. So I want you to tell me in the comments, what patterns have you purchased? Are you scaling back a little bit on your pattern purchase? Are you liking a lot of these patterns that are being released? Or am I just being too picky, right? And yes, you need that 10th sweatshirt pattern in your life. What are you doing? So, all right, guys. So I hope you like this video, and please give it a thumbs up, and I will see you next week. Bye.